I have two things here that I believe to be shocking. I believe I have a shocking stat of the day, and I believe I have shocking Lucy information. Which would you like, Stugotz?
Shocking Lucy information.
How exhausting does all of the Caitlin Clark conversation have to be when Lucy Rodin, who has been famously, publicly pro Caitlin Clark before it was popular, before it was trendy, as our resident Iowa correspondent, for her this fast into Caitlin Clark's career, I think we're talking about 10 games, for her to be totally tired of talking about Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin is the only person having any normal conversation about Caitlin. I never thought that I would wake up and not want to hear people talk about her. Every time I open up my phone, it's this cesspool of just gross stuff. Nikki Haley, shut up. Don't talk about Caitlin. She's mine, not yours.
She's reached rage levels, and we're just, how many games are we into the experiment? Is it 8, 9, 10, 11?
No, they've played like 600 games so far. They've played more games than anybody else by like 10 miles.
I think they're 3-9. There's probably another one in there somewhere. It's too many games.
That was fast, though. It was fast for you to get to already tired about the Discourse. We were talking earlier in the week about the idea that she's somehow controversial, even though she's done nothing controversial, because she's just, I think Jessica said, she's just an avatar for whatever it is you want to talk about.
It's not her fault. It's everyone else's fault. I just didn't expect everyone to be that stupid. I thought they'd be stupid, but not that dumb. And they're just... She doesn't say anything. She doesn't do anything. She goes out, she plays basketball, she's normal. Like, even the whole, like, Olympic conversation, she wasn't mad. She wasn't upset. Then everybody else just gets so... She doesn't need you to do that. She's cool. She's good. She makes a lot of money. She's fine. Leave her alone. Just leave her alone. Be normal. Just somebody be normal for 5 seconds.
Yeah, no one can be normal. To Lucy's point, I was listening to the Athletic Women's Basketball podcast yesterday, and Ben Pickman was saying that USA Basketball stuck to basketball, and all Caitlin Clark's been saying all season was like she wants to tune everything out and just stick to basketball. And they did that, and everyone's still really mad. And it's very just, why can't we just be normal?
What is generally happening with the coddling, though? Like the idea that people are rushing over to not just have an opinion, but to also protect her from expectations that come with being a prodigy?
It's all pretty much just like it boils down to like men being like, women need to be protected, even though men are the ones who do all the bad stuff to women. It's pretty much all of them. They're the ones that we need to be protected from, but yet they're saying they need to protect us. Caitlin doesn't need to be coddled, and it's like, I've followed Caitlin since she was in high school. That girl is a killer. She doesn't need to be coddled. Sometimes I think, hey, maybe the people around her need to be coddled, because look, my girl's fiery. She doesn't need you, Nikki Haley.
Sounds like you're talking about it.
Right.
But she's tired of talking about it.
I'm tired of listening to everyone else talk about it.
Right.
I'm tired of listening to I don't
Lucy's
care what they have to
allowed
say.
to talk about it.
I've followed Caitlin
She's
since high
normal.
school. Makes Caitlin sound less like a killer, and you sound more like a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know what to respond to that.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's boxed you in. I
Damn,
hate it
you
when he
got
does
me.
that.
Well done,
Yeah,
Billy.
he's a good hater sometimes on that. Yeah.
Oh, it's my girl. Okay. Jessica, can I tell you, I spent like 3 days after Formula One going, was I too familiar? I called her Jess right away, as if we were like old homies from college. Did I just have kept calling her Jessica? I really spent like an absurd amount of time tormenting myself over whether I should have called you Jess.
No, I go by both, but I wore my Hannah Hidalgo shirt today for you, but it's too cold to take off my sweatshirt, so you can't see it.
It's underneath. That's all that matters. It's there.
Exactly.
Elle, we are so happy to see you. I don't mean to sound too parental here in feeling proud of you that you can display the full range of your personality in a way that the prompter doesn't allow, but it's nice to see you again, and thank you for making the time for us.
Dan, are you joking? I squealed at the call. Thank you. Hi, Stugotz.
Hello,
Hi,
Elle.
Dan. Hi, everybody. Hey, I see Lucy. Hey, what's up, Greg? Okay, I kind of see. Can't see who's in the very back.
It's,
I
Billy,
think
it's
that's
Billy, Tony, and Greg. That's fine. That's fine. You did fine. Elle, I should tell the people, she's been a mainstay on SportsCenter here close to a decade, and obviously excellent on WNBA Countdown on ABC. And it's a show and looks and acts like none I've ever seen, Elle. I think it's fair to say that, right? There's never been the space for this kind of chemistry, this kind of show at ESPN, correct?
Yeah. No, I mean, I would agree. I like, it always feels weird being that person that's like, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think that, for its good and its bad, there is an opportunity there, or at the very least that places let me sort of be who I am, wherever I am. So that's been cool.
Can you take us through, and I want to cede the floor to you here, just the last 10 days. The last 10 days have been interesting to you. Why and how?
They've been exhausting. I have used the phrase from the Green Mile from our beloved, what was his name? John Coffey. I was tired, boss. I have used that phrase more in the last 10 days than maybe ever. Like, I'm really exhausted. I certainly know that social media is not a place to have nuanced conversations. But if I'm being honest, you guys, I think I'm a little disappointed in myself. I think I naively thought, with all of the momentum from the college space, with these amazing numbers, with these ratings, with just all the good feels, with the hope that it was going to translate to the W, because it just hasn't for whatever reason, for a bevy of reasons. And I think we know what some of those are. That translation's never been there, that you can love these college players and then you can watch them level up at the professional level. And I think I just sort of naively thought, like, all this attention that Caitlyn is going to bring, like, is going to shine a spotlight on everyone else, and it's just going to grow, and it's going to be so great, and everyone's going to get to see how awesome the W is. And it has become, like everything else in this country, a total complete culture war, where everyone that's new to the party is showing up with pitchforks. And that doesn't sound like a fun party that I would want to be at. So, yeah, it's been a little bit of coming to terms with the fact that I very naively thought it would look a lot different.
Elle, that's crazy to me that you and Lucy, 12 games into the Caitlyn experience, are already, I'm tired, boss. Like, that's crazy. How can that be?
Yeah, I know. And I know Lucy, being a big Caitlin Clark fan. I mean, I watch all your stuff, Lucy. I love it. And I think I'm frustrated for many reasons. I do think, and I've asked, because here's the thing, to address some people on social media that have been like, don't you scold us. Like, this is your first, foray into the W as well. You are 100% right. I've been in the college space for 3 years. I have been in this W space for just this season, a handful of weeks, if you will. And a lot of that is because of the growth that Caitlin Clark brought, and the idea that they wanted to carry some of the momentum that me and Andrea Carter and Shania Gwumike had from the women's tournament. But I, unlike some new people in this space, are asking a lot of questions, and I'm trying to do a lot of listening, and I'm doing a lot of research. And maybe that's because that's my job by nature. But when I ask people that are in this space, like, why are we here? What happened? Like, how did we go from, like, Caitlin Clark is going to help level up this whole league to now we have othered her in a way that it is either you are showing complete fealty to Caitlin Clark, or you're a jealous, bitter hater. And there's no in between. It's like you are either saying that she should be given everything that she wants because she's been transformative, or you hate her and you're a racist, which I've been called numerous times this week as well. So there's no in between. And it's frustrating because everyone has taken to their respective sides, and, like, there really is no room to listen. Or I didn't think that the Olympic thing would be that talked about naively. And sure enough, like, we're still here, 4, 5, 6 days later talking about it too.
Isn't it possible that it's just because men want to be a part of the conversation now, and it's easy to do all-star snubs and Caitlyn as an entry point, and everyone can look at what's happening and say, I liked it better before the men got here?
Yes. All my girl group chats just look like, what is wrong with the men? What has happened to the men? They're losing it. Yes. And I think that's the frustrating part, is that I'm not one of those people that's like, you're new, you should have nothing to say. But the problem is that these new people don't really have anything else to talk about. They're not particularly researched. They're not watching these games. They're certainly not texting sort of the experts or the analysts that they have at their disposal to ask them what are storylines that are worth selling. And so they keep going to the same bag of tricks. She's being targeted. she's the best thing to ever happen to these women, and she's being snubbed. It's just like the same rehashed, and it doesn't matter how measured the conversation is around it. I mean, actually, Dan, I was really excited that when this thing leaked last Saturday that we were going to get to do a WNBA countdown, because again, naively, I was like, Andrea Carter and Chiney Agwumbike should be the first voices on this. Like, before the men get it, let's let these two very pragmatic, measured, researched, incredible people give their thoughts on why potentially she was left off the roster, which is different than being snubbed. She was left off. She was not snubbed. And it still hasn't mattered because, it's still the people with the biggest platforms are the ones who, want to be able to throw Caitlin Clark in the A block, but in a way that they think is digestible to their fans, which is simply going to the one thing that they know about, which is, besmirching and denigrating an entire group of women, thinking that you're doing it in a way that's like promoting Caitlin Clark, which is beyond strange to me too.
I have a question looking ahead to the next Olympics in 2028, which will be here in the United States. There's going to be even more of an influx of talent coming out of college next year and in the next 3 years with Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, Hannah Hidalgo. Plus, you'll have rookies this year like Angel Reese that may be eligible to play in the next one. Will this be the deepest pool of talent in USA basketball that we've ever seen in 2028 trying to make that roster?
Sure. I mean, listen, it stands to reason that like Diana Taurasi's not going to be on the roster at 46 years old. Who knows? She could surprise me. Certainly she's doing things that we haven't seen any 42-year-old do in basketball before. But absolutely. I think the thing that's frustrating to me about this Olympic conversation, Jess, we're friends. I'm going with Jess, is that people just want everything handed to Caitlin, and Caitlin doesn't want that either. Come on, man. She didn't become the greatest college basketball player of all time by like wanting anything handled to her, the greatest shooter by wanting people to not defend her or face guard her. And so, yeah, it's going to be a really tough decision to make for the Olympics. I think it was a really tough decision to make to leave Arike Ogunbowale off. And if you talk to the analysts, part of the reason anyway, is because Arike is a very unique and special talent, much like Caitlin Clark. And she's not exactly a plug into the system and go type of player. You have to little bit build around her to play to her strengths, which she has many, but you have to sort of build a team and a strategy around that one player, which is not really ideal for an Olympic roster. So yeah, it's going to be incredible. I mean, and I love that you mentioned Paige Beckers, like we're talking about her coming into the league next year. At some point, Juju coming into the league. At some point, Hannah Hidalgo, who I know is buried under your sweatshirt in there, Jess. And so it's going to be an incredibly still difficult decision because, again, you guys, all of the best basketball players in the world reside in America. So you're talking about picking 12 of the best in the world, and it will still be a tough decision, and there will still be people who are upset and will be snubbed. But in this particular instance, it was just not Caitlin Clark.
There is another rookie that we haven't been talking about a lot, Alyssa Peely. She had this incredible half-court shot. I'm not sure if you saw it. We're going to play the video right now.
It's B-roll, so talk over it.
Okay, well, here it is. One-handed, just launches the ball from half court and makes the shot. One of the most incredibly athletic things I have ever seen. I'm truly, what do you even say?
She threw it like a baseball.
I was going to say, that's why I love it, Dan, is because it actually looked like incredibly sort of unathletic. It looks like she's like, whatever. She sort of shot put it, and that's how far it went because Alyssa Peely has grown woman strength. Like, that is not surprising at all.
Can you help us with the storylines? If people need to be talking about the basketball this Saturday, you have Saturday and Sunday games. You got Aces hosting the Liberty, and you got Brittany Griner and the Mercury hosting the Storm. When you talk about storylines that people should be paying attention to, instead of Caitlin Clark talk all the time, what should they be paying attention to?
Yeah, and let me be clear, like, come for the Caitlin Clark and stay for the other storylines, right? Like, there is no such thing as growing the space if you still only watch one particular player. That doesn't grow really anything. It helps just the Fevers numbers. So this weekend alone, I mean, you're going to have an Aces team that looked like they were streaking towards a third straight championship. They've taken a little bit of a hit right now, but they still don't have Chelsea Gray, one of the best point guards in the entire world right now, at their disposal. So it looks like there's a little bit of blood in the water, but Asia Wilson is having a 2001 Shaq year, right? Like, you guys know what that means. She is dominating and is just must-see TV on every single level. The Liberty look like a team that is finally sort of figuring some things out. They just took down the Connecticut Sun. The Sun is like the perennial. You guys, we always want a good like underdog type of story. That's the Sun, man. They are always the bridesmaid. They are never the bride. They've been to more finals and semis appearances than any other team without an actual championship in W history. And they look fantastic despite just losing to the Liberty. They turned around and beat up on the Fever. Nafisha Collier has been stupid for Minnesota. I don't think anyone was talking about the Lynx when we were coming in. Now they're the second, third best team in the league right now. And you talk about the Seattle Storm, right? Like we thought this could be a super team with Nneka Ogwumike, with Skylar Diggins-Smith. They started out the season not playing particularly well. They've won 7 of their last 8, and they are absolutely balling. So there's so many. And the Mercury, like Diana Taurasi's 42 years old, wanted to make this Olympic team, is shooting better from long distance than really anybody else in the league. And my girl Kalia Copper is absolutely on one. Makes her first Olympic team because she leads the league in scoring. She's been so fun to watch. Brittany Griner shaking off the rust. She just put up a 24-point effort. Like there is storylines galore in particular this weekend. I hope that you guys will be watching on ABC. The best teams are being featured.
Before we let you go, in honor of Chris Whittingham using the fighting words, listen, pal, we have a top 5 list for Elle of most threatening things said by the white man. Number 5, or we have OLI here, Stugotz?
Just a straight 5, Dano.
Okay, number 5.
Hold your horses, pal.
Okay, number 4.
You've got another thing coming.
Thing or think? Number 3.
2 hits. Me hitting you, you hitting the floor.
Number 2.
I'm going to clean your clock.
And number 1.
Newsflash.
You gotta add a buddy at the end of that. It's newsflash, buddy. That's what really stings. That's what makes it a fighting word is the buddy.
The
at
shipping
end.
container hated your list.
I feel like there's more threatening things, but
Hold your horses is strong.
It's my list, and it's white men.
No, are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
I'm going to turn this car around.
That's what I was. Clock.
It's for a kid, though.
I'm going to kidnap you,
It's
put you in
still
a
funny.
cage in my
It's still funny.
my garage. Your family's not going to hear from you for 6 months.
Whoa,
It's always white people
that
that do that. Let's come on.
escalated. Elle, thank you for being on with us. Again, I will tell the folks, WNBA Countdown on ABC. She is doing a spectacular job with it. It's nice seeing you again.
Thank you. Can I throw one in for Stugotz that
Yeah.
no white person would ever say, but you would be the first and it would make a lot of sense? You finna get your wig split. So if you could just say that, I
That was
promise
OLI
you
for
they'll-
me, yeah.